Chapter 349, Wounding Yuan Ying with One Blow. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. The ice melted and all the warriors in the heaven realm slowly began to wake up. They leapt from the water and landed on pieces of ice. Their bodies were still stiff and their spiritual blood was not running smoothly yet. But their genuine chi was gradually recovering, which made their bodies warmer and warmer. The icing air was so dreadful that their blood and every muscle was completely frozen. Without the scent power to dissolve the icing air, they might have frozen to death. As for the warriors below the heaven realm, although they were freed from the ice, their bodies were injured by the icing air and they were still in a coma. Seeing the woman in an imperial dress, Yuan Ying's pupils contracted. His face changed, and he immediately reached out his hand toward Zhang Yuochen's heart. 5 sharp white claws came out of his fingers and emanated a horrible icing air. Yuan Ying was fast, but the woman was even faster. Standing about 333 meters away from Yuan Ying, she gave a cold look and pointed with her right forefinger. In just a second, the holy sword on her back flew out and turned into a beam of light, heading toward Yuan Ying. Swoosh! The light was like a flash of lightning or a shooting star. It made a near-piercing noise and shook the heaven and earth spiritual chi. Even Yuan Ying would not dare to fight that sword directly. He had to withdraw his hand and dodge. Although Yuan Ying escaped, Yi was not as fortunate. The sword pierced Yi's heart, the one just implanted in him. The half-saint's heart flew out together with the sword chi. Yi only felt coldness from his chest. And then, a great pain enveloped him. He looked down, only to find a horrible blood hole in his chest. He shivered all over and stretched his hand toward the half-saint's heart. He said, My, half-saint's heart. The flashing half-saint's heart flew in a circle and fell into the woman's hand. It hung suspended above her left palm, looking like a beating blood jade. The holy sword hovered above her head and spluttered grains of light, making her look even more sacred and elegant. Yi's face grew pale. With trembling hands, he clutched Yuan Ying's arm and mumbled, "Elder, help me get the half-saint's heart back, please." Yuan Ying's face was dark. He stared at the woman as if he was facing a formidable enemy. Suddenly, he shook his head and cried, "Let's go." The opponent was too powerful, and Yuan Ying was also a little frightened. He rolled up his sleeves and covered Yi and the 7 kills emissaries in a layer of holy light. Then he flew back into the dark cloud. "Want to flee?" The woman frowned with contempt and slashed out with her sword again. Swish! The holy sword turned into a beam of white light and charged into the cloud toward Yuan Ying like a white rainbow. Standing on the dark cloud, Yuan Ying suddenly turned around. The purple crescent mark on his globule emerged. It grew into a huge one and chopped toward the sword. Boom! There came a loud noise. But the sword was all-powerful. Nothing could stop it. It pierced through the purple moon and went right through Yuan Ying's stomach. Yuan Ying was blown away by the holy sword, and his black robe was torn apart by the sword chi, revealing a silver armor worn next to his skin. At this moment, the silver armor was pierced through by the holy sword as well, leaving a blood hole. Drops of holy blood leaked out from his wound. Yuan Ying immediately used his holy chi to stop the wound from bleeding. Then, he performed a special technique and vanished into thin air together with Yi and the 7 kills emissaries. The dark cloud disappeared, and the blue sky and the bright sun were revealed. Swoosh! Carrying with it a blood-red light, the holy sword flew back into the sword scabbard from the sky. On Tongming River, all the warriors were greatly shocked. They stared at the woman with the utmost respect and awe. "Greetings, half-saint." A silver-gowned elder from the school of the martial market got down on one knee first and bowed to the woman. Bowing to a half-saint was nothing to be ashamed of. Moreover, this woman was so powerful that she injured Yuan Ying with only one blow. Besides, she had saved their lives. That made her worthy of being bowed to. Then, other warriors came up as well. They all knelt on the ground and said, "Thank you for saving us." "Stand up, warriors." This woman appeared very cold and proud. Even her voice carried a chill. Chen Ying, the palace master of the school of the martial market, walked on the water toward the woman. He said with surprise, "Liu Lai, I thought you were trapped in the nether relics. We sent a lot of people to save you, but no one found you. I thought you were. The woman was Chen Liulai, Chen Ying's sister and Huang Yanjin's biological mother. 7 years ago, Chen Liulai and some others went to the Nether Relics to search for a legendary treasure, the Nether Bell. But they lost touch with the family. The Jins and the Cayenne's Yui Commandery Prince sent countless masters into the relics to search for them, but nothing was found. On the contrary, many masters lost their own lives in the relics. Everyone believed that she had died in the relics. So after half a year, the searching stopped. But no one could ever imagine that 7 years later, she had returned. Standing beside Chen Liulai, Huang Yanchen stared at her mother. She could not help but cry. She gathered her mother in her arms and sobbed, "Mother, you finally come back. These years without you, Her voice was choked with tears. Chen Liulai's eyes showed a bit of tenderness. She hugged Huang Yanchen gently, patted on her shoulder and said bitterly, "Yanchen, I remember when I left you, you were only a little girl around 10. Look how tall you've grown in 7 years' time. These years, your uncle has been taking good care of you, which has brought him lots of trouble. Now, since I'm back, I'll take you back to the Jins." Huang Yanchen nodded and said in a low voice, "Before going back, I want you to meet someone." "Who?" asked Chen Liulai. Huang Yanjin became a little bit shy. She searched around with her beautiful royal blue eyes as if she was looking for someone. But she did not find the person. How could this be? "Where is Zhang Yuochen?" asked Huang Yanjin. It was not until then that people realized Zhang Yuochen had gone. Huang Yanjin's face changed color. She asked anxiously, "Was he taken away by Devil Yuan Ying?" Chen Ying shook his head and replied, "Number. I saw clearly that Yuan Ying only took away Di Yi and the 7 kills emissaries. What's more, he was badly hurt. There's no way he could leave and return again." Chen Xia said, "Cousin, after Devil Yuan Ying's escape, I saw Zhang Yuochen leaving hurriedly. He left." Huang Yanchen frowned angrily. His future mother-in-law had saved him, but he just left without saying thanks. It was too impolite. Was not he afraid of leaving a bad impression on his future mother-in-law? But why was he in a hurry? Where did he go? The palace of Yunwu Commandery. The Yunwu Commandery prince sat on the gilded throne, reading over the paper. On the golden desk, there was a small purple gold tripod. A wisp of purple smoke came out of the tripod, giving out refreshing fragrance. Tap, tap. The queen walked in elegantly and approached the Yunwu Commandery prince. She smiled and said, "Your Majesty, Gui is back. Do you want to see him?" While she was speaking, she opened the tripod and put a piece of fragrant bone into it with her fair hands. Common people could only burn savage beasts' bones. Only the royal family was qualified to burn fragrant fox's bones. The fragrant fox's bones had a charming smell. What's more, warriors could improve their spiritual power through extended use. The Yunwu Commandery prince smelled slightly and looked at the tripod. He smiled. "How nice the smell is. This is at least a third-class fragrant bone." "My queen, where did you get this?" The queen was a bit shocked when she heard this, but she remained smiling and replied, "I live in the palace every day, so there is no way I can buy this. This is something brought back by Gui from Yuntai suzerain to honor you." Yunwu Commandery prince gently nodded and said, "You've just mentioned Gui is back. Then why don't you let him in now? I haven't seen him for a long time either. I am wondering if he has reached the heaven realm." Suddenly, the Yunwu Commandery prince felt a bit dizzy. He tried his best to shake his head and said, "What's wrong with me? I suddenly feel very tired today." The sound of footsteps came near. Zhang Tangai stepped in, casting a long shadow in the court. He said coldly, "That's because the fragrant bone she just put in was soaked in poisonous water for half a year." "My father, you are poisoned by the blood shadow." "My father, you are poisoned by the blood shadow." "My father, you are poisoned by the blood shadow." The Yunwu Commandery prince's mind went blank. Zhang Tangai's words kept echoing in his ears. His vision became more and more blurred. Standing behind Yunwu Commandery prince, the queen suddenly stopped smiling and gave a cold look. Unexpectedly, She raised her hand and struck it on the Yunwu Commandery Prince's head. Bam! Blood came out slowly from the Yunwu Commandery Prince's head. It flowed past his eyes and lips and dripped onto the ground. The Yunwu Commandery Prince suddenly woke up. He stared at the queen with disbelief and asked angrily, "My queen, why do you